The views and opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of 580 WCHS, its employees, or WVRC Media. From the studios of WVRC Media, the country, the United States of America, the state, West Virginia, the city, Charleston. This is the Dave Allen Show. And your host.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
He's kind of a big deal.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Dave Allen.
Had a good Tuesday morning and happy Halloween from the Parmar Store studio. It's the Dave Allen Show, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group, the voice of Charleston, WCHS. The boss, Dale Cooper, is our producer today. Bigly, Piggly, Wiggly, hotline 304-345-5858. Have a text line from Ruth is 304-935-5008. Dave Allen Show, brought to you by Thornhill Auto Group, including Thornhill Toyota. Come check out the new Camry, Corolla, RAV4, and more. At Thornhill, they're not just selling cars, they're creating unforgettable adventures. Click or come by Thornhill Toyota, WV.com, or on the Thornhill Motor Mile US 119 in Chapmanville. We do the show from the Parmar Store studio. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon. Parmar is the official store of high school sports in West Virginia and the official convenience store of Marshall University. Coming up on the show a little bit later on, Ellen Allen, no relation, from West Virginians for Affordable Health Care, is going to join us. Plus, I got a lot of news headlines and different things I want to get to on the show. A little programming note. Yesterday, I gave my unsolicited advice to Huntington Mayor Steve Williams, who's also running for governor, on what he could do to better his chances of being elected governor. Well, the Steve Williams folks were listening, and Steve Williams is on the show tomorrow. So he's going to tell me, I listened to your advice, Dave, and I'm going to do the exact opposite. But he's going to be on the show tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to having Mayor Williams, now candidate for governor. Steve Williams will be on the show tomorrow. Always a pleasure to have this guy in studio, Rich the Realtor, our buddy Rich the Realtor Kline from Meeks Realty. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, Dave. Good morning. How are you?
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, sure. Hey, it's your favorite holiday today, right? All those kids coming and banging on your door.
I love it. I love when the kids come to the house. I really do. I always love
They're
that.
sourcing out the neighborhood for their parents to see if they want to buy anything there.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me ask you this stuff. All right, so somebody shows up at Rich the Realtor's house tonight for trick-or-treating. What are they going to get?
All chocolate.
Chocolate.
I got the good stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's the good stuff, so...
Interesting, dichotomy, and you and I were talking about this earlier. When my wife and I first moved to Tays Valley back in 2014, I guess our first Halloween, would have been 2014 there. We were totally blown away, Rich, with how much different trick-or-treating was in Tays Valley as compared to other areas. Now, true story, our first year there were kids all over the neighborhood, but we did not have a single trick-or-treater at our house. They walked right by, which... if I saw me on the front porch in my underwear with a Miller Lite, I'd probably walk on by too. But first year there, the kids in the neighborhood, everywhere, not a single trick-or-treater. We had all this candy, and they just walked on by. I couldn't figure out why until somebody told me about Tays Valley style trick-or-treating. At least in the neighborhood where we were, kids will not come up to your door as they did in other areas where I had lived.
You got to sit outside.
You got to sit outside. You got to sit, and tonight's going to be a challenge, to sit out there tonight. My wife just suggested that I sit in the garage with the car running. She thought that would be a really good
closed.
Keep the door closed. That way I can hear if the kids knock on the doors there. But apparently, what I learned in Tays Valley, if you want to have trick or treaters, you want to come by your house, you have to actually go, either sit on your front porch and walk out to them, or you have to, if it's warm enough, which is not going to be tonight, you have to just sit out there and wait. It was so much different from Logan, Rich, because in Logan, where we moved from, I mean, not only did kids come up on your porch, they would take your copper pipes and your catalytic converter as well. So it was a totally different thing.
But that's changed over the years. I mean, I grew up there. I grew up in Scott Depot, and we banged on the doors when we were kids.
You did it in July, didn't you?
We did, yeah. So just however long until we tore up our costumes, but yeah.
And of course, people of our generation, we remember those the plastic mask costumes. You remember that you couldn't breathe, and you do all that for a pack of raisins. You'd basically cut off the air supply, to your extremities and whatever, and to your brain for a pack of Raisinets or something. Looking back, I don't know whether it was worth it. All right, let's talk some real estate. And as always, Rich is always open to take your calls or text you if you have any questions about real estate. Rich is your guy. Rich, I read this article the other day, and I thought this can't be right. So I figured I would ask the expert.
Oh, boy.
So as soon as one gets here, I'll let you know.
We'll see, yeah.
No, I figured I would ask this question of you. The sale of multifamily housing units outpacing single-family homes. Is that right?
Not necessarily the sale of them, but the building of them.
Oh, the building of them. Okay.
So the building of them.
I told you I'd get it wrong.
Yeah, so that's the National Association of Realtors article that came out too. So they just said for the first time, I don't know if it's ever or if it's the first time in recent years, but they are building more multifamily homes, meaning duplexes and quads and townhouses, those kind of things. The builders are, that's where their money is.
Why? Why is that?
I just think that's where the cost effectiveness is. So the cost of building is so high so that you can build a duplex for about the same price you can build a single family home. You sell it to two separate people. So it's just, I think it's about living space versus what they can afford to build. Just do.
Well, I grew up in a duplex. My second house we lived in growing up my teenage years was in a duplex. And I will just say this. I really feel sorry for the lady next door. We had an older lady that lived beside of us. She was a widow, and I say old. She was in her 70s, and she had a bunch of Yahoo teenage kids, hanging out the house next door. I really felt sorry for her, and I don't know that I could go back to live because karma. I don't know if I could go back to living like that again. Someone asked me this the other day, Rich, and so I figured again I would ask you if I decide to sell my home. And I know this is a very generic question, and every situation is different. What am I looking at as far as out-of-pocket costs go?
From the seller side?
Yeah.
So, you have to expect to have some, traditionally, you're going to have to expect to have some buyer closing fee participation. So it's very common for the buyers, their closing fee on their loan is somewhere around $5,000. They're going to probably ask the seller to participate in that. They don't have to. Everything in real estate's negotiable. But I would expect you to, I'll make $2,500 of it just as a general rule. That would be half of what their buyer's closing cost. And you've got another $1,000 toward your own closing costs for attorney fees, transfer of title, taxes, those kind of things that get you. And then you should budget a couple $1,000 for repairs. Mm-hmm. Because there's going to be an inspection. There's likely to be some deferred maintenance that happens. And, home inspections can be a little scary, but the reality of it is a couple $1,000 typically on a budget will make you comfortable to be able to get there.
And home inspections, you and I were actually having a conversation not long ago about home inspections. They can make or break a new home buy, and just because a home is expensive doesn't automatically mean it's going to pass a home inspection, because it depends. Just like any kind of other inspection, it depends on what inspector that you get and how specific that they, because they don't want to be held liable.
Well, that's the thing with home inspectors. They're gonna CYA, and they're gonna point out every single thing. Probably 90% of what they see are just deferred maintenance items. It's true in most homes throughout the valley or throughout our area, probably nationally. And then you just kind of have to focus on the safety related items and electrical issues and plumbing leaks and roof leaks and things that could that the new buyer is going to want fixed. But, you're not going to necessarily, I don't know, as an example, put new caulking around the vanity in the bathroom or something of that nature. But the home inspector is absolutely going to call it out.
Yeah, and again, it depends on which home inspector you get.
Yeah, you get a different opinion
as to how thorough that they are. And yeah. I know you folks in real estate, and there's things that you're allowed to say and allowed, but you probably silently to yourself probably say when so-and-so is getting this home inspector, you just kind of go, oh, gosh.
We all have our preferred vendors or preferred affiliates, and and then those ones that kind of like, well, just prepare yourself. Yeah. I try and have the conversation with sellers when I'm going to list their home, just to what to expect, so that it doesn't freak them out. Same thing with buyers, so that they know that, hey, there's going to be a ton. I can just share this. My house is under contract. Had the home inspection recently. I know the inspector well. When he's finished, he's like, hey, I'm all done. I'm like, hey, how'd it go? Hopefully you didn't find anything too bad. He actually said if they're all like this one, we wouldn't even home inspectors. So I'm like, that's a relief. We get the report and it's 62 pages long. So just don't freak out. Whether you're on the buyer or the seller side.
Right. I'm talking to Rich.
It's really not that bad.
We're talking to Rich, the Realtor client here from Meeks Realty. All right. So let's talk about getting attorneys involved. Nothing good in life ever comes when you get attorneys involved. And I'm just saying that because I know I have a lot of attorneys who listen to the show. I'm kidding, of course. But in not all instances, but some instances, there's going to be attorneys involved in transactions.
Yeah, you got to have a title attorney who can transfer the deed and do the title search and go back. What they're going to do is get all those records transferred over to you, make sure your taxes are paid. They've got to report all of that anyway, and they're typically going to be $1,000 or so on both sides of that transaction for the buyer and the seller. And you need them, and there's some good ones out there. They're going to, just again, you don't want to have any surprises that, oh my gosh, my taxes didn't get transferred over, and then the sheriff is selling your house a couple years later because you didn't pay your taxes. So,
you and I, Rich, both live in Taze Valley, and we know they're coming. Putnam County Chamber of Commerce just had another ribbon cutting this past Friday for an all new housing development. This one was out on Route 35. Nucor is coming. We're already seeing people moving into Putnam County. They're moving into various areas, but it's obviously Mason County, but they're moving into Putnam County. It seems like more than anywhere else right now. And a lot of that has to do with because we have a very low crime rate. We have, some of the best schools in the state and things of that nature. That's one of the reasons why they're moving. But with all of these people that are moving in, we still need homes. We still need houses.
Yeah. Another development being built in Winfield right beside the, you'll make fun of this because you're good at this, but it's right beside the funeral home there in Winfield on 34, but they're building more townhomes there. Mm-hmm. And just we need those houses and we need those builders to do it. So, the inventory levels have kind of leveled out. I mean, they're part of the whole raising of the rates. The goal, I think, was to obviously to build some inventory back up where we just don't have it and haven't had it now since COVID happened. But it has kind of leveled out. The expectation is they think that it might be flat for another year or so, and then potentially it might go back up a little bit. But we need homes. We need places to build them, places or builders rather, to build those houses for us so we could sell them.
Well, and again, and there are people that are coming into Putnam County and some of the other areas right now. And one of the problems is, and this is not just a Putnam County thing. This is going on in various points of the state because people are relocating here. As you said, we need homes. We need people to build homes.
Yeah, or even for people to sell their home. So people ask me, when's the right time to buy? Is it rates are close to 8% now based on your debt to income and all that stuff. But I always say the right time to buy is when you need to buy. You're not really holding out for the ideal scenario right now. If you need to buy a house, then find yourself a good realtor, and I know one. Mm-hmm. So call me. But if you need to buy it, then just buy the house and then worry about the rate a couple of years down the road. You can always refinance that.
Is there a time of year in your experience that seems to be better for buying homes, or maybe when you see more people that are reaching out? Is it, spring and people, after the thaw happens and people look at their houses and they think, man, I don't want to live in this place? Is it wintertime because they're tired of the air blowing in? Yeah. Is there a certain time?
Well, the spring selling season is definitely the heaviest volume of it for all of us. I mean, that's just, we sell more homes, so more buyers are motivated, more sellers are motivated. People are trying to get ahead of the school for the following year. They're trying to get it into a home before their summer vacation, move over the summer, that kind of thing. So the springtime traditionally is the busiest time of the year.
Rich, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Where can people learn more about your services? Of Rich the Realtor.
Rich the Realtor, yeah. Please call me directly or text me at 304-932-7488, 932-7488. Or you can reach me at richkline66 at gmail.com.
All right.
Yeah.
We will talk again soon, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate
you being here as always. It's 9:21. The Dave Allen Show brought to you part by QC Kinetics of Huntington and Cross Lanes. Imagine living your life this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, or your back. QC Kinetics can make it happen without steroid surgery, pain pills, or downtime. Call QC Kinetics of Huntington and Cross Lanes for a complimentary consultation, 304-202-5566, 304-202-5566 for QC Kinetics of Huntington and Cross Lanes. Hold on a second. I got a text here for you.
Oh,
you thought you were done.
I thought I was done.
You were already ready to go head first into the bonbon.
Well, I was going to call the QC Kinetics.
Texas got 70 acres of farmland for sale in Scott Depot. Have Rich call me.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
Okay, well, give you what, because I don't know who's texting. What we need to do is, Rich, you need to give your phone number again. So text her, Rich.
Here we go. Call me directly or text me directly, and I'll contact you this afternoon. 304-932-7488. 932-7488.
All right.
Love to help you.
There you go. See, this is already paying for itself.
There you go. We can tell Ashley you contributed to our group.
You owe me lunch now.
You got it.
All right. It is 9:22. We're back after this. Ellen Allen from the West Virginians for Affordable Health Care up next from the Parmar Store Studio. It's the Dave Allen Show, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group with the voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses bring first-class businesses to your community.
Elevators. You take them for granted until they let you down. If you're working to maintain a stellar reputation, then let me introduce you to DC Elevator. We want to work with you to make sure your people get where they are going. What could be better than a new company coming to the area and already having 45 years of experience? DC Elevator is bringing a new culture of elevator maintenance, repairs, modernization, and installation to West Virginia. Don't leave your people hanging. For a free consultation, call DC Elevator at 304-345-7222.
Are you ready to make every adventure awesome? Look no further than the new Thornhill Toyota. Introducing the 2023 Toyota Camry, Corolla, and RAV4. The ultimate companions for your journey. Whether it's the sleek Camry or the adventurous RAV4, we've got the perfect ride for you. And don't forget our unbeatable selection. We've got a ride for every style and budget. At the new Thornhill Toyota, we're not just selling cars, we're creating unforgettable adventures. So why wait? Visit us today and let's make every adventure awesome together. Click or come by at ThornhillToyotaWV.com or on the Thornhill Motor Mile, US 119 Chapmanville. See Thornhill for full details.
Hello, I am Judge Stephanie Abraham, and I am running for Circuit Court here in Kanawha County.
Judge Stephanie Abraham was appointed to the Circuit Court by Governor Jim Justice. Judge Stephanie Abraham owned and managed her own law firm and was an attorney for the Department of Education and general counsel for the State Board of Education. Judge Stephanie Abraham is a fair and balanced but tough judge who will always follow the Constitution to protect liberty and achieve justice for all.
I am Judge Stephanie Abraham. I appreciate your vote for Kanawha County Circuit Court.
Paid for by the Committee to Elect Judge Stephanie Abraham.
9:24. Reminder that our phone calls to the Dave Allen Show in service of Biggly Piggly Wiggly. When shopping at your Biggly Piggly Wiggly, be sure to join their loyalty program. You can save big at the gas pumps and throughout the store with their electronic coupons and free gifts on Fridays just for stopping by. From farm to table, Biggly Piggly Wiggly is the best kept secret in Charleston. Texting services provided by Fruth Pharmacy, your hometown family pharmacy. Dale Cooper is our producer today, and the hotline number from Biggly Piggly Wiggly, 304-345-5858, and the text line for Fruth, 304-935-5008. Ellen Allen is the executive director of West Virginians for Affordable Health Care. She's in the studio this morning. Good morning, Ellen. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. Beautiful, crisp fall morning.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you. Boo.
So that's as scary as it gets this morning, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're talking about health care, though. That can be kind of scary.
That can be very scary.
Transition. See, that's why they pay me the big bucks.
That was impressive.
Yeah, that's not really what it was.
Well, we're trying to take some of the fright out of it.
See what you did there. Okay. All right. So open enrollment starts tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow and runs through January 15th. But if you want your coverage to begin January 1 of 2024, you need to be enrolled by December 15th.
There's going to be a press conference, I think, happening today.
Yes.
Talk about that. Talk about that.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Jeremy Smith, director of the West Virginia Navigator Program, will be with us. We'll be at 600 Leon Sullivan Way. So anybody who'd like to come should pop up on the second floor.
What time is that?
11 o'clock.
Okay.
11
so
o'clock.
you're leaving there directly, I presume.
Yeah, welcome back.
So those who may be new to the process, generally speaking, explain what open enrollment is.
Yeah, I mean, this is really fascinating this time around because the subsidies have been enhanced so much. So open enrollment is a time where you can look at, no matter what's happening in your life, you can look at changing the coverage you have, securing coverage that you may not have. Because of some of the changes to the ACA, you may have a employer-based policy that maybe it consumes 15% of your household income. That would make you eligible to actually look at a more affordable policy through the marketplace. That hasn't always been available. So this open enrollment gives you a time to really assess the different health insurance products in the marketplace.
And what are the most common questions people have about open enrollment?
How do I do it? I mean, it's pretty intimidating. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty intimidating. I've done this work in different ways for a long time. I've sat on a hospital board, and I've not seen anything more complicated than healthcare from every aspect of it. But what is so helpful here is working with a navigator. And that's why I'm excited about Jeremy Smith being with us at 11 this morning. As a navigator, you can make a call to acanavigator.com. So I'm going to repeat that a couple of times because I want people to have that number or that website. Okay. acanavigator.com, or you can call 1-844-982-2737. And there's a staff of trained people that will just sit down with you and go through the policies that are available to you in the marketplace. And there's a lot of them. And it's something you can begin on your own, but it's really complicated because of your premiums may differ based on not only household income, but your zip code. So what might be true for Sally may not be true for Fred, depending on where they live.
Okay, and let's talk about that as far as the different divisions. Are we talking about different states there are differences? Or are we talking about areas in West Virginia that Charleston may be different than Huntington, for example?
Neighborhoods. It could be different.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, zip code's really, really important. And the household income is a real significant factor as well. And also, again, even if you have an employer-based and it consumes a certain amount of your income, it would qualify one for enhanced subsidies that would make a policy that may be even better than what's offered through your employer-based health care and make it affordable for you.
Talk about the organization, West Virginians for Affordable Health Care. You folks you've been on the show before, and others have been on to talk about overall your organization and what your mission is.
Yeah, our mission, Dave, really is to bring a consumer voice to public policy and healthcare. And, in one sentence, that probably sums it up better than anything. And we want to hear from consumers about the barriers they have felt to healthcare. And then we want to work with lawmakers to improve policies to make healthcare more affordable and accessible to every West Virginian.
What is the relationship between your organization and people that do the kind of work that you do? What has that relationship been like in dealing with those under the dome in the legislature and whatever?
I think it's been very positive. I mean, just about everybody we speak to want every West Virginian to have health care. We may have different approaches on how to get there, but we're pretty close to covering every West Virginian. 30 years ago, over 20% of West Virginians were uninsured. Today, only 6% of West Virginians are uninsured. And that's a variety. That goes from employer-based, which most of us get our health care, to Medicaid and now the Affordable Care Act. So that's pretty impressive, but that still means about 107,000 West Virginians are uninsured. And some of that is because they don't have employer-based. Perhaps they make too much to be eligible for Medicaid, but their past experiences, they could not afford the premiums on the ACA. They're much more affordable now than they were. So I would encourage people who aren't covered to take another look at that.
Ellen Allen is Executive Director of West Virginians for Affordable Health Care. Open enrollment begins tomorrow. Press conference scheduled for 11 o'clock this morning to teach people more about it. Talk about the age of West Virginians, Ellen, not you specifically.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Because that could get me hurt. You never do that. But
you're not that far away from me,
but here's the thing: West Virginia is the oldest state in the nation, and so obviously with that is going to become, because it's simply a numbers game, Ellen, there's going to be more questions and there's going to be more people that are trying to get signed up. Talk about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me that because, there's a real economic issue to healthcare, right? And I'm not quite eligible for Medicare, but I do want to talk about that because it's also open enrollment for Medicare. Mm-hmm. And talking about complicated, that piece is even more complicated. What I learned recently, and I didn't know this, and I've been doing this work a while, is the state health insurance program has essentially navigators that will help people look at their Medicare options and the different supplements. And that also will look at your income. It'll look on your healthcare needs. And I would encourage people to take a look at that. And that would really be focused, of course, on people age 65 and up, which is a large portion of West Virginians.
Yeah, I've actually someone in my family right now that just turned 65, and he is going through this right now, and he's somebody that's worked his entire life, and he's to the point now that he's looking at retirement, and not right away, but trying to weigh out all these different things about, and this is somebody who spent their life with paperwork and things of that nature. And now he was just like, he's calling my wife, not calling me, but he's calling my wife and saying, I'm lost on this. I'm lost.
Well, that's what several of my friends are Medicare eligible, and pass this on to him. It's called the SHIP program. This is West Virginia, and they actually have people all over the state that will help you over the phone or set up an appointment with you just to talk about your options on Medicare and how to pick supplement and what program will be best. But the State Health Insurance Assistance Program, West Virginia SHIP, and the number is 1-877-987-4463, and they are fantastic.
Okay, and they're just there to answer basic questions.
Yeah, basic questions. Or even a lot of times you can do this over the phone and walk through, and they may have the site up, both of you all looking at the same time. They'll also can set up a one-on-one appointment with you. A friend of mine just did that, and it was really, really helpful for her. And that's kind of, one of the things with West Virginia, as I said, being an older state as we are, you get to a certain point in your life, and I'm starting to look at that right now. I'm not there yet, but I'm starting like you. I'm starting to look in that direction right now, thinking, okay, I've worked, for however many years I've worked, 180, I think, and now I'm starting to look at things like that and starting to think about this thing. After a while, your mind changes a little bit, and your mindset changes, especially when you enter your 50s, as I am. It becomes pretty crucial. I mean, and that, if we have time, I'd like to talk a little bit about, you bring up a good point. Yeah, go ahead. We're thinking about that. Go ahead. People can really prepare for this because open enrollment begins tomorrow. It runs through January 15th, but if you want coverage effective January 1st, you need to have it by December 15th. And I would encourage people to start calling the Navigator now. Okay. Call them now, because I know I spoke with Jeremy, I think 2 weeks ago, and they're already booking halfway through November. So get on their schedule, give them a call, because some of the things you can do and help planning. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence, because it is complicated, and there's not like, and this is what I think is really impressive. There's not just one plan that fits everybody. They all have unique characteristics that look at what your healthcare needs are, and you don't want to pay for more coverage than you need, but you also want to make sure you're not vulnerable financially if something would happen. So just being able to work through those can save you thousands of dollars a year, and it can also make sure you're not missing coverage that you need. So shop early, really look at your family's needs or your needs if it's just for you. Look at your current plan. Consider the cost and seek that expert advice that the Navigators can give you. They're really great. The Dave Allen Show is brought to you part by General Hardware and Lumber of Winfield. From kitchens to paints to decks, straight framing wood, roofing metal, and anything else you're going to need, you can find it at General Hardware and Lumber of Winfield. Ellen Allen, the Executive Director of West Virginians for Affordable Health Care. You've given us a lot of dates, a lot of phone numbers, so on and so forth. So let's rack them up and shoot them again, as my grandfather used to say, and start from the top and go over all of the numbers and the dates and so on and so forth. Go ahead. Yes. Okay. Open enrollment begins tomorrow and runs through January 15th. If you want coverage effective January 1, you need to get enrolled by December 15th. So give a Navigator a call. Again, these are people who are just focused on West Virginia specifically, acanavigator.com. They have a nice website that's easy to use, and their number is 1-844-982-2737. And if you're eligible for Medicare, and again, you're already in open enrollment there, you want to give the West Virginia SHIP State Health Insurance Program a call, 1-877-987-4463. They also have a website, WVSHIP.org. again, these people are really helpful. They know their stuff, and they can save you hours and hours of time.
Ellen, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. Ellen Allen is Executive Director of West Virginians for Affordable Healthcare. We'll have you again soon.
I like that
thanks
very
a lot.
much. Thank you, Dave.
24 minutes away from 10. We're back after this from the Parmar Store Studio. It's the Dave Allen Show, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group and the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses want to thank you for shopping locally.
Thrive with 5 at the best community bank in the Kanawha Valley, Poca Valley Bank. Poca Valley Bank is now offering a certificate of deposit special, 10-month APY, annual percentage yield 5%. Take advantage of this great rate to grow your savings. For more information, stop by a Poca Valley Bank location today or call 844-782-2651. Poca Valley Bank, where relationships matter. Certain terms and conditions apply. Rates based on minimum annual percentage yield. Subject to change without notice. Minimum deposit required of $10,000 of new money not currently on deposit with Poca Valley Bank to receive APY. Member FDIC.
Are you worried about retirement? Stike Wealth Enhancement Group is the premier retirement planning service in West Virginia. With years of experience and a commitment to personalized service, we'll work with you to create a customized retirement plan that addresses your unique needs and goals. Whether you're just starting to plan or nearing retirement age, Stike Wealth Enhancement Group makes the process easy and stress-free. Visit StikeWEG.com for more information.
Securities and advisory service offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
It's obvious the unthinkable is happening. With all the recent media distractions, most folks never saw it coming. But a few did. Their guts told them something very wrong was going on. And now the headlines are proving them right. The people in charge keep telling you that everything's fine and to stop noticing. But you know better. Folks are investing in emergency food storage, and you should too. My Patriot Supply, the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, are the ones you can trust. Go to mypatriotsupply.com and secure their best-selling 3-month emergency food kits. Each contains tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells biomass stoves, off-grid room heaters for when the power goes out, gravity-powered water filters, heirloom seeds, and survival gear that may come in handy soon. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today. It's time to prepare for what's coming. mypatriotsupply.com.
22 minutes away from 10 from the Parmar Store Studio. It's the Dave Allen Show, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group, Voice of Charleston, WCHS. The boss, Dale Cooper, is our producer today. Biggly, Piggly, Wiggly hotline, 304-345-5858. Fruit Pharmacy text, 304-935-5008. And I just got notification yesterday from one of our sales weasels upstairs that the folks at the Biggly Piggly Wiggly are so happy with the response that they've gotten to sponsoring the Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline that they've signed on for another year. So I get another year of saying the Biggly Piggly Wiggly hotline. So glad to help those people out. The Dave Allen Show is brought to you part by Bridge Valley. Are you interested in improving your company's IT workforce? Well, did you know that Bridge Valley offers custom-tailored IT training to bridge the skills gaps? With Bridge Valley, you can train for little or no cost with a 50-50 salary match. Bridge Valley can also supply skilled graduates and apprenticeships for your company. Visit bridgevalley.edu/apprenticeships today. Happy Halloween. Text says, hey, Dave, I'm giving away fried chicken, embryos, and beer for trick-or-treat, just like the Coneheads did, according to a texter. Text says, Dear Dave, easy Halloween costume, old angry white guy, sports T-shirt, cargo shorts, white socks above the ankle, white leather sneakers, talk about the past, talk about gas prices, talk about the NFL. On second thought, we're all good in this department. Happy Halloween. Well, let's see. Okay, all right. So, sports, a T-shirt. Okay, I got that. Cargo shorts. I got that. White socks above the ankle. No, I don't. I don't do that. White leather sneakers. Not yet. That was the official outfit of my father, who passed in 2014. I've been told, my stepmother tells me when I get to be 65, I inherit his New Balance shoes with the grass stains on them. That's what I've been told. Talk about the NFL. I can do that all day. And by the way, the Eagles are just going to kill, or the Eagles are going to get killed by the Cowboys this weekend. Wishful thinking on my part. But anyway, I appreciate the texture there. All right, so City of Charleston is going to hold their final in a series of meetings called Here to Serve. This one's set for tomorrow evening at 6 at the Roosevelt Center, 502 Ruffner Avenue. Now, this has been an opportunity to get questions answered, to complain, to give compliments, whatever you want to do. It's your time with city officials to do whatever. This is the final one scheduled, at least for now. Others have been held. Kanawha City, they had one at Mary C. Snow Elementary, Oakwood Road, and downtown of a library. Again, this is the final one. They'll have reps from the various city departments on hand, mayor's office, police department, streets, roads, fire, all of them. So get out there and make your voice heard. It's tomorrow night starting at 6 at the Roosevelt Center on Ruffner. And I understand that these have been pretty well attended. This is the final one that's on the schedule. So this one, again, is tomorrow evening at 6 at the Roosevelt Center, 502 Ruffner Avenue in Charleston. And speaking of the mayor, next Monday is her day in the sun, so to speak. She'll be in on Mayor Monday, starting at 9:40 next Monday morning. So if you have questions or comments for the mayor, get them ready. She'll be here on Monday. Programming note: I'm going to be away from the Par-Mar Store studio this Friday, so I'll miss Friday Funhouse this week. I have an engagement with one of my other 3 jobs I have outside this one. So the boss who's producing today, Dale Cooper, will be in for me on the show this coming Friday morning. Trick or treat happening tonight. Most areas 6 till 8 or so, depending on where you live. I did see one county, I think it was Wayne, that's starting at 5, but it's 6 to 8 most areas. And I'll be honest with you, I guess I was that weird kid. Well, I'm turned into a weird adult, but I was never really a big fan of trick-or-treating growing up. I stopped trick-or-treating probably 4th or 5th grade. Just wasn't my thing. As much as I love food, I was never really a big candy eater, so I literally gave my food away to other kids or family members. Now I'm an adult who doesn't get excited about it much either. I'm also not a Christmas fan, so I just live for the humdrum of everyday life. But that having been said, enjoy your trick-or-treating and be safe out there tonight. I got to give credit where credit is due. You credit the booking agents, the promoters, city officials, others, whoever, responsible for the great concerts that we're getting in Charleston. Announced last Friday that REO Speedwagon is coming to Charleston along with Rick Springfield. Talk about your ultimate show for Gen Xers. And now for the redneck Southern rockers like myself, it was announced yesterday that ZZ Top, the greatest man ever, in my opinion, Leonard Skinner, and Blackstone Cherry are coming to the Coliseum Convention Center on Saturday, March 30th. My man Animal, over on our sister station 987 Mountain, has been giving away tickets. He was actually giving away tickets to both shows, I think, this morning. So listen to Animal for your chance to win. And by the way, if you haven't had a chance to check out our all-new station, The Mountain, it's been on since July. Steve Animal, Shockley, Tricia, the whole crew, just killing it right now. So if you're a classic rock fan, this is your station. The only one in the Valley that's playing nothing but classic rock. So go check it out. Text says, well, they sent me pictures, but here we go again. Another illegal alien caravan headed towards the border. Those were pictures that were sent to me. Appreciate that. Text says, Dave, why can't the state leaders go around the state and let people vent since they won't answer the phones when we call? Well, I know that certain groups of the legislators do these public meetings from time to time, and I don't know if that's who the texter is referring to, but not necessarily a bad idea. The Dave Allen Show brought to you in part by Hudson's Pizza. This month at your favorite Hudson's, get a large 18-inch pepperoni pizza and any pizzeria, only $21.99. Find your local Hudson's for dine-in delivery pickup at Hudson'sPizza.com. Some news headlines this morning. Hoppy is going to get into this one a little bit further right off the top of the show at 10:06 on Talkline. A U.S. District Magistrate has recommended a default judgment in the class action lawsuit against the Southern Regional Jail in Beckley over inhumane conditions at the jail. Now, the magistrate is alleging that several paper records into investigations and grievances were, his words, intentionally destroyed. Ouch. That's not good. And there was a lawsuit over the whole thing filed in September 2022 against the Southern Regional Jail. They also named the Division of Corrections and every county commission that pays to house inmates in the Southern Regional Jail. So that's the way it works, is these county commissions pay their jail. You hear on the news a lot of times the jail bills. Well, if you feed into the Southern Regional Jail, which Charleston does not, then that's where the county commissions come into play there. So they filed lawsuits there. The governor's chief of staff, Brian Abraham, says there was never any intention to destroy any documents or evidence. He called anything related to that, quote, a mistake and not a purposeful action, in quote. Now, we have a story posted about it on the website. Leslie Rubin of WCHS television has been the one covering the story. She's actually going to be on Hoppy as the first guest coming up at 10:06 this morning. Text says, good job with the interview with Ellen. Well, thank you very much. Our job is to get information out to people. Our lead story on the website this morning is Judge Your Honor, Judge Mary Claire Akers is refusing to lower bail in this Sissonville neglect case. Gene Whitefair and Donald Ray Lance are being held on $200,000 bail each following their arrest earlier this month. And you know the story by now. The two are accused of having their kids, a son and a daughter, both teenagers, locked in a shed on their property in Sissonville. Now, there was another younger child upstairs in a loft of a separate structure. Now, Whitefeather's attorney, who's Mark Plants, is saying that there is another side to the story, that there was actually a key inside the shed that would have allowed the kids to leave anytime they wanted. And he called the barn, which I haven't seen it. I've seen the pictures that we posted online and the TV news crews have done and so on and so forth. A barn is kind of a stretch. It was more of a shed, as Chris called it, more than anything else. But he's saying, the defense attorney is that the kids could leave anytime they wanted, and he called it just a hangout for the brother and sister. Okay. I'm not sure what the explanation for the filthy conditions inside was, including buckets that were being used as bathroom facilities, or the fact that a brother and sister never want to hang out together in the first place, let alone to have a quote-unquote hangout. And look, I'm not hating on Attorney Plants. That's his job. I mean, he's a defense attorney, but dude, really? Judge Akers called one of the defendants, Whitefeather, a flight risk. Of course, this couple originally from Washington State and refused to lower her bond. And all five of the kids, we understand now, are in the care of CPS. It's just a tragic story, and you know it happened earlier in October. I think is when the story first broke, on October 2nd. I think that was the date of it, and it got nationwide attention. And of course, another West Virginia stereotype furthered by people that aren't even from West Virginia, by the way, that just moved here not long ago. And one of the defendant's brothers commented about seeing the key, and it was brought up in the bond hearing yesterday that why didn't the police see the key that was hanging there, and so on. And so I'm sorry, I just can't buy that story. I'm not an attorney. Again, I'm not hating on Mr. Plants. That's his job. He's a defense attorney, but I just can't buy into that story. I just can't. We're going to take a break. The Dave Allen Show is brought to you in part by your folks, your good friends over at Brightway, the Mays agency of Tays Valley. You know, buying auto insurance can be complicated. That's why you need a local person to look out for you. At Brightway, the Mays agency, they can customize your policies with coverages you need and want. Call John and Sherry Mays, 304-814-2509, 304-814-2509, or visit brightwaymays.com. We're back after this from the Parmar Store Studios. Dave Allen Show, brought to you by the Thornhill Auto Group on the Voice of Charleston, WCHS.
Brought to you by the Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses. Eric J. Tarr Family Businesses live to make life better for you and your family.
The most wonderful time of the year is here. Of course, I'm talking about football season, and your local Parmar stores are ready. Hey, it's Dave Allen. And whether you need to gas up the tank, grab a bite to eat, or stock up on snacks and drinks for the tailgate party or for your own couch, Parmar's got you covered. Parmar is the official store of the West Virginia Secondary Schools Activities Commission and of Marshall University. Happy football. And remember, if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
Watch 13 News.
The shooting that prompted a school lockdown.
Live, taking you to the scene.
Just had a house explosion and
local stories from your neighborhood.
Flames were shooting through the building's roof when crews.
Now, giving you the most updated information.
This shooting happened right here along Depot Street.
And live coverage of local stories that matter to you. Amanda Barron.
A fire has crews on the scene.
Pat Simon.
Let's go live now to Sandy Car.
Spencer Atkins.
We have new severe thunderstorm warnings.
Storm Tracker 13 weather.
And you want to get in shelter.
Keeping you safe. Every weeknight, watch 13 News. Live, local now. 13 News.
Dr. Phil is on the move. New station, new time. You do not want to miss the episodes I have in store for you. Watch me on my new home.
Watch Dr. Phil, weekdays at 3 on WOWK 13.
Hello, I am Judge Stephanie Abraham, and I am running for Circuit Court here in Kanawha County.
Judge Stephanie Abraham was appointed to the Circuit Court by Governor Jim Justice. Judge Stephanie Abraham owned and managed her own law firm and was an attorney for the Department of Education and General Counsel for the State Board of Education. Judge Stephanie Abraham is a fair and balanced but tough judge who will always follow the Constitution to protect liberty and achieve justice for all.
I am Judge Stephanie Abraham. I appreciate your vote for Kanawha County Circuit Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Judge Stephanie Abraham.
It's 9:53. Dave Allen Show brought to you in part by Pinnacle Consultants, the only accredited commercial lab in West Virginia for asbestos and mold. Asbestos banned in some building products, but it's a ban for all products in the U.S. Don't expose your family or your workers to asbestos, mold, or lead paint. You at Pinnacle Consultants, they offer real estate and environmental assessments for hazardous materials and air quality. Visit pinnaclecorp.net. That's pinnaclecorp.net, because what you don't know can hurt you. Text says, how about the former North Dakota GOP state senator who was indicted for child porn and child sex tourism? It's so strange how members of the party of Christians and family values tend to wind up in that position, says a texter. Not really familiar with the story. I will look into it, but I can tell you I don't think either party has a necessarily has a lock on things of that nature, sadly. Kat Skeldon has a story posted at WVMetroNews.com. The Kanawha County Prosecuting Attorney's Office said yesterday that deputies in Kanawha County were justified in a shooting in Cross Lanes that led to the death of Brian Edwards Spencer. There was a press conference held about it yesterday. Kat has a story posted. You'll recall this story. This was out of Cross Lanes, and this was a person originally from Logan County that was holed up at a hotel and had been to prison, and he was actually called by a former love interest of his, and they said he went out with a bang, is what he said, and I guess there was an investigation of the police. They say it was totally justified, according to a texter. All right, let's talk a little bit about traffic. And I somehow missed all the tie-ups yesterday. Normally, with all the traveling that I do on I-64, I'm the one stuck in the middle of it. Yesterday afternoon, however, I was on the other end of 64 in Huntington. And although there was an accident at one point westbound outside Huntington. By that time, I was traveling eastbound, headed back home. So if you were traveling and trying to get out of Charleston yesterday around 3:30, 4, 5 o'clock, normal quitting time for most people, it was a no-go for sure. And this morning, I just missed an accident on 64 East near the Winfield exit. I mean, when I say I missed it by a couple of maybe 5-10 minutes, because my wife was traveling behind me, and she was about 5 miles behind me, and she called me to say, she held up in this accident that I had just missed. People, I don't know what the cause of the accident was. You probably saw the picture. We had it posted online about the truck that lost a lot of plywood apparently on 64. Slow down. It's not that hard. And I'm somebody that from time to time has a lead foot. I will be the first to admit it. But not in situations like that. Not yesterday when it was an absolutely miserable travel day because of the rain and the leaves down and so on and so forth. And experts will tell you that there's usually more accidents in rain. Actually, it is a statistical fact. There are a lot more accidents in rainy conditions than snowy and icy conditions. Just slow down. 99% of the accidents could be eliminated if people would just slow down and realize that in the work zones, the speed limit is 55 miles an hour. And that's at optimal. That's when it's perfect. That's when it's sunny and 75. If it's raining like it was yesterday, it's a lot lower than that. It's not hard, people. Just don't be stupid. Texas Dave, I hung out in some shady places that didn't even have a bucket. I'm guessing you have too. Just say maybe we didn't have all of the information when we crucified these people. It's possible. Yeah, I mean, and that's why you have a trial, and that's why it goes to court. Absolutely, absolutely, and it'll all come out. I'm just saying that defense seems to me to be a little bit weak. But as a defense attorney, that's your job, is to find things that you can find people that will believe them. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, from my opinion, don't know anybody involved, wasn't on scene. I'm just saying that looks a little sketchy. But the texter is right. Sometimes we have a tendency, especially in this era of constant media, and we're constantly connected to Facebook and news sites and X and so on and so forth, and Instagram and whatever, that everybody plays judge, jury, and executioner. And we're all guilty of that. I'm the first one to admit that I am. Coop, a couple minutes left in the show. You got the kid all jacked up and ready to go and get Skittles tonight?
We'll see what happens with her when I check in here in a couple hours. She was not feeling all that great last night. Was starting to get a little runny nose. Worried that we had 3 parties this weekend already, so I'm worried that maybe she got a little cold somewhere.
And the thing about it is, when you and I were kids, growing up, the trick-or-treating thing, 6 to 8 on Halloween night, and now we have trunk-or-treats, because we just had 3,500 kids over at Gomar Ballpark last week for Trick-or-Beat, and all the area organizations. I know the Benny Keaton Shrine, my buddy Chris, and those folks had a trunk-or-treat, and the churches have trunk-or-treats, and so on and so forth. So there's certainly not an excuse for any kid not to be able to trick-or-treat somewhere.
Yeah, I think that, there is a thing where our communities aren't as walkable as they used to be. They're not built with sidewalks necessarily, and sometimes it's not as safe as it was when we were kids, or at least the impression is it's not as safe. The impression
is it's not as safe. Actually, it is safer now.
Yeah, I know. I think generally speaking it is. And most of the stuff we were scared about as kids wasn't real anyway, like the razor blades and candy and stuff like that. It was fake. It was all fake, a moral panic that was made up. But not that you shouldn't check your candy and make sure your kids are safe and all that stuff, but just keep in mind that stuff was largely just made up, and then like local news ran with it, and it became urban legend more or less.
And it never happened.
Never. There's not a verifiable case of it anywhere. Sort of like the Satanic Panic. It just didn't exist. That being said, I was more of a I liked trick-or-treat, but like you, I didn't go trick-or-treating late into my life. I was more of the scary movies, scary environment, haunted house kind of. Like, I liked going to haunted houses. I liked being scared and things like that, but I didn't do a lot of trick-or-treating.
All right. Well, best of luck to all the trick-or-treaters out there tonight. A little Essie, enjoy yourself, and I'm sure Dad and Shannon will probably, if she does feel like going out, will probably enjoy some of the fruits of the labor, but it's not a whole lot of fruit. It'll be more like chocolate-covered stuff. All right, we got to go. Thank you to Ellen Allen and Richard Realtor for being on the show today. Hoppy's coming up with a loaded up talk line today. On this show tomorrow, Huntington Mayor, candidate for Governor Steve Williams is here. Ashley Offer Glantz from the Putnam County Chamber of Commerce is here today, or tomorrow, I should say, as well. Happy Halloween, folks. See you tomorrow. Till then, have fun and love somebody.
580 WCHS AM, 96.5 FM Charleston, and 104.5 Cross Lanes, a WVRC media station. We're proud to live here, too.
From ABC News. I'm Derek Dennis. Northern Gaza under attack by Israeli forces in the air and on the ground with more bloodshed.
The Israeli army reporting its forces inside northern Gaza killed a top Hamas commander who directed part of the deadly October 7th attack on Israel. Another 300 Hamas targets, including tunnels, hit, the IDF says, as it expands its ground offensive in an apparent push towards Gaza City. The Israeli Air Force also striking Hezbollah targets in Lebanon overnight. And in a first, sirens wailed in Israel's southernmost city, Eilat. The IDF says it shot down a drone, an attack from Yemen claimed by the Iranian-backed Houthis. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
Here in the U.S., more migrants on the move.